Hi, you guys, and happy Video Monday. And also, happy, apparently, no makeup Monday. And I'm still chewing my chocolate Monday, and I happen to have the worst roots ever. But none of that is neither here nor there. I'm going to take care of this soon. Promise, promise. Today, I want to talk to you about something very important. I want to liberate you and tell you that if you want to be vegetarian or vegan, for whatever reason, you can do it and also do low carb if that's what you want to do too. Now, sometimes people need to be low carb because they have a health condition like diabetes, PCOS, insulin resistance. So those people need to be low carb. And they might feel really, really conflicted in their life right now if they are or were vegetarians and vegans. But you can do both. You can. So the problem or the confusion lies in the fact that when we think of carbohydrates, we often think of grains, we think of beans, we think of fruits, we think of vegetables, all carbs. And when we think of what a vegetarian or a vegan eats, it's those same things. So when we ponder putting those two together, it doesn't seem like it could work. But I'm here to tell you it can. So I don't have one of those health conditions that I listed, but I am very sensitive to sugar and to carbs. I always have been. Even I think when I was a little kid, when I think back to it. So for me, I wanted to mesh those worlds. I didn't figure out at first that I felt better doing low carb. That came later, but it has been very important to me to be plant-based. It's a moral thing. It feels true for my heart. And when I have tried in the past to do otherwise, I can't say that my body felt that bad when I've experimented or when I experimented with that. It didn't really. I felt heavy and I felt a bit toxic, but that may have been in my mind too. Who knows? But it just didn't feel right for my heart. And that's just me. There's nothing wrong with eating animal protein. Nothing. So please, if you need to be low carb for whatever reason, maybe try it. See how you feel, okay? But if you are really committed to being a plant-based eater, and you also need to eat low carb. Maybe you figured out that you feel better low carb, or maybe you have a health condition. I will do another video on how you can tell what the best macro split might be for you. But for this video, let's just assume for your own reasons, you know you need to do those two things. This is how you do it. First of all, if you are trying to do low carb, plant-based, you can eat a ton of vegetables and still be low carb. So we're talking spinach, broccoli, cabbage, kale, cucumbers, celery, tomatoes even. All of these vegetables are low carb, and they're all amazing for you, and they happen to be super, super healthy. You can also eat lemons. You can eat limes. You can eat a few other low sugar fruits like berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. Depending on how low carb you want or feel you need to be, you may also be able to add chickpeas to the mix and some superfoods. So superfoods often contain some carbs, but nothing crazy like a grain or a bean or like a grain or a pineapple or anything. You may, speaking of beans, also be able to tolerate small amounts of beans on a low carb diet. So a good one to try out would be like chickpeas. All of those foods that I just mentioned are low carb, and they're also plant-based. You also have, this is important. So when you are on whatever diet you're on, you have to have an energy source. That energy source can be carbs or it can be fats. Proteins can turn into glucose or into usable fuel for the body, but it's less efficient for the body to turn protein into fuel. So you kind of have to pick, all right? You have to pick either fats or carbs. So if you go low carb and you find you have no energy, that's normal. Your body needs some time to become what's called fat adapted. Your body needs some time to get used to using fats, dietary fats that you're eating, as fuel for energy. It happens. It will happen. It takes time. If the diet is the right way for you to go, you have to give it at least a month to try. So you have to be consistent for at least a month to see. So you got to give your body a chance to adapt, and then you'll know. You might even feel better right away because your blood sugar is going to level out probably. So if you're going low carb, plant-based, you need to use fats as fuel. So you're going to have some carbs for fuel, but you're not going to have a lot. You're going to be eating probably under 100 grams or so at least. So 100 or below would be lower-ish carb. Lower would be 100, and then below that would be, low, 50, really low. So if you're going to do low carb plant-based, you need to rely on eating more fats. So you can't go low carb plant-based and just eat cucumbers and expect to feel great. You need a source of fuel. So the carbs are there to provide you tons of nutrition and some energy, and then you need to eat fats. So you're going to get proteins let's go proteins first, and then we'll get to the fats. So if you are doing this vegetarian, you can eat eggs, you can eat cheese, you can eat yogurt, milk, and other vegetarian low-carb things that are also vegan would be, so this is for the vegans out there too, it would be nuts for protein, seeds for protein, hemp seeds, plant-based protein powder. Again, you're going to get a little bit from the chickpeas if you can tolerate that amount of carb. You can do spirulina, you can do chlorella, you can do blue-green algae, you can do other sources of protein would be like the nut butters, you can do dark greens. Like, these things aren't going to give you a ton of protein, but you can get enough if you're eating a lot of those. Other things would be bee pollen, there's so many. But again, those aren't considered your source of energy. So you're going to get the protein from those foods. Tempeh, tofu, if you're going to include soy. Great options. So those are going to give you some fats as well and some carbs as well, but also some of that protein that you need. So really, plant-based is going to be also higher fat, and you're not really going to be able to do a plant-based low carb and low fat, and you wouldn't want to do that anyway. So you're going to probably have a moderate amount of protein in there from all those foods I just listed. You're going to have low carbs from vegetables, and then you're going to have your fats. So your fats are going to be the main source of energy that you are going to use to fuel your body. You've got coconut oil and olive oil and olives and nuts and seeds and avocados, so key. And just checking my little notes I've left here. Nuts, seeds, avocados, healthy oils. Really good nuts are especially macadamia nuts, almonds. You can use the butters, so nut butter, walnut butter. All of those healthy fats are going to be important. And you can also look for things like coconut yogurt. Oh, the most important one, dark chocolate. You can have dark chocolate and be low carb and be plant-based. Good news. This is why this works so well for me, because I need to have chocolate in my life. It's my one thing. I got to have my one thing. So carbs, proteins, fats, you need all of them. You need to figure out what ones are best for your body, but you have to know with this that if you are going to do low carb plant-based, you need to eat enough fat. So don't just eat vegetables and drink protein shakes. You're going to feel like shit. Maybe not right away, but in a couple weeks, if not right away. I think you would feel like crap right away, but you need to get those fats in your diet. That's the key thing. And you have to give it at least a month, because it might take a bit of time, and you might have some weird detoxy symptoms that are happening as you detox from all the grains and all the sugars you may have been eating before. So yeah, try it. If you're not thriving on a plant-based diet, so let's say you're eating lots of quinoa and lots of beans and fruit smoothies galore, and you're crashing and you feel terrible and you're like, I can't be a vegetarian, but I want to be. You can be. You just got to switch it up. You got to think of getting rid of the grains and the fruits and become friends with fat. So that's what I did. I started off definitely, oh my gosh, I was doing the 80-10-10 at the beginning. I was crazy with the fruit. It wasn't working, and I gave it a while, and I was doing it. Like, when I do something, I do it. I had 10% fat in there, and I felt like it worked while I was doing, if I was doing a crazy amount of exercise. But when I became more moderate with my exercise, it wasn't working anymore. I just wasn't burning off the sugar quick enough. Now, especially, I'm not super active, because I've just discovered that for my body really likes me to be gentle with it. So walking and yoga and these types of activities are better for me. So I don't need a boatload of carbs. If I am doing something really active, I tend to have a little bit more on those days, and then I have zero problems. But generally, lower-ish carbs is good for me. Not super low, but lower. I don't feel so great when I eat grains and when I eat sugar. So the bottom line here is you need to know your body. And if you don't know your body, you've got to take the time to know it. You have to live with this body for the rest of your days. And you want to feel, obviously, the best that you can. So take the time and figure it out. Do your detective work, or do it with me. You can hire me, I'll help you. But take the time, figure it out. And again, if you already know you can't do high carb and you really want to be vegetarian, you can do it. Just you have to make friends with fat. I always ramble, guys. I know. I think I get that from my dad. I've just realized. My sweet dad, he used to call me and leave a message, like a voice message, and every single time the tape would run out. And he would call back and he'd go, oh, sorry. And then he would finish what he was saying and it would run out again. Like it was constant. And I just realized in this moment that that's where I got it from. And that fact makes me now not want to change it, because he was amazing. And I just realized I got that from him. And he's not here anymore. And it was Father's Day yesterday, so I'm obviously all sentimental and still noticing those roots. Okay, guys, that's a wrap. Happy Monday, and have a great one, and go low carb. Do it. Rock it. And if you want to do it with plants, you can. Bye. Talk to y'all soon.